Welcome to Trading Lounge and the Indices report, and starting with the Australian market just on the monthly chart. And I've got this moving up here from a wave 4 here after the GFC, and then wave 1, wave 2, and heading up for blue wave 3, 4 and 5. Now it is possible that this whole move up here is just a corrective move of an ABC here. But when I look at Commonwealth Bank on the same monthly chart, and we will do that in a minute, it's much clearer that CommBank will have 5 waves up as well in blue in terms of 1 and 2, 3, 4 and 5. And one of the reasons for that is that Commonwealth Bank is heading up to wave 3 here at say $100, but it's way past its top here. So Commonwealth Bank needs to complete 5 waves in terms of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I would imagine that this market will do exactly the same as well. Okay, so as it stands at this point, well, let's just work through this count, because currently we're in wave 4 here and we're looking for 5 waves up through to here. And this is intermediate wave 4, so we'll be looking for 5 minor waves up through here. And that will take us to the top of wave 3. So from wave 4 here, intermediate wave 4, we've got 1 of minor degree, 2, 3 and 4 in here already, and we're going up for 5 here already. So we're actually in the 5th wave here already, okay? So just to make that a little bit clearer, we can see from the daily chart here, and intermediate wave 4 here, we've got 1, 2, 3, wave 4, and we're looking up for wave 5. And in wave 5, we're looking for 5 waves as well. So with that in mind, we're looking at wave 4 here on this 8-hour chart, much the same as daily, but just maps it out here in terms of 1 and 2. And so we're heading up for wave 3 here, which will probably be a bit closer to the 6,000. We'll drill that in a moment. Then wave 4, then wave 5. Now my target extension up there in terms of Fibonacci and whatnot is 6.2, which is interesting really, because it's 62 is really kind of in terms of price structure at 61.8. So it will have some sort of bearing there, and it's just a number that we're just throwing out there, but we will track that in terms of wave count when we start moving up through here. We'll nail that down. But as it stands at the moment, it's quite clear that we have wave 1 here already, we have wave 2, and we've been pushing up quite strongly, as you notice in the banks, in terms of a wave 3 here. So that's what we're looking at the moment. So from wave 1 and 2 here, this is wave 2 here, we're looking for 5 waves up here. So so from wave 2 to wave 3 up here, we're looking at this in terms of 1 and 2, and then we're looking for 5 waves up for wave 3 here. Okay, and it's quite easy to count at this stage, because from wave 3 here, we've got 1 and 2, which is easy, nice strong 3rd wave, 4th wave, and then we're looking up for the 5th wave here. Now in this 5th wave here, there's going to be 5 waves as well. So we could see that this is wave 1 here and wave 2 here. So I think that we're still in like wave 3 here. There'll be a little 4 and a little 5 to move up through there. So just looking at that coming into this chart here, we can see from wave 2 we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're looking a bit closer at these little 5 waves here. Now of course the US markets and European markets were up firmly. This market's trading higher than the cash market, so we will see it higher. But I think that group 1 in here will slow it down a little bit. So above 6,000, so 10, 20 and 30 and 50 will slow it down. But at the same time, we need to count 5 waves from wave 4 to wave 5 here of the 3rd wave. Once that is completed, we'll look at that on a 15-minute chart in a moment. But then we'll be looking at wave 4. Now wave 4 across 6,000 can pull back to the wave 4 of 1 lesser degree. So it can pull back down in this little area through here, and then we'll see a movement up through this part here. So Well, that's sort of where we are. And just drilling down in here is a little bit tricky in some parts, but just on the 15-minute chart here, obviously the logical thing to do would be sort of to look at wave one being here, but I don't know about that. It just sort of doesn't sort of fit right. I mean, the way that I've counted at the moment in blue here to get up to this thing here is a little bit odd. I grant that, but I can see that we've got 5 waves in this first little move here and wave 2. So so anyway, this is the way I've counted it. So I think that this is a little wave 4 occurring here, so we can expect some sort of, volatility here to give us that wave 4, and then wave 5 up through here. That can go higher depending on how we drive up, but it will be interesting today because we'll have banks higher and we'll have the material sector high as well, because base metals are very strong. So we're going to see BHP and the material sector up in line with the finance sector as well. So it'll be interesting to see how high it comes here. But the main point is we're looking at the top of the third wave here, and then we'll be looking at an A and a B and a C. So profit taking on Tuesday morning, and more sort of volatility through Wednesday and Thursday. But the main trend is still up. So just a matter of accommodating that. Now I'm just going to go to CBA here because I said that I would, and I just really want to point out that this was the GFC here, and the XJO hasn't made a new high above this high here yet, but you can see that obviously the banks, and this anyway, that have pushed much higher through here. But what it does do in terms of the Elliott count, and that's what we're kind of focused on really, is that we have to label this wave 1 and wave 2 here, and that means that all of this here is the third wave here. So there's there's plenty to go here. So at 100, we will expect, a classic trading levels pattern, and then further upside there. But that's why I would look at the XJO in terms of being positive to the upside. With this market here, we're looking at just a little bit different in wave count, but looking at wave 4 here of intermediate degree, and we're looking for wave 5 up here of wave 3. So this is where I think the XJO is as well. It's a little bit confusing that I've got these here, but they've left over from before. So once again from wave 4, we're looking for wave 3 up here of wave 5, and that will bring us into the 100 there. So with that in mind, and wave 4 here, it's just good to drill in here a little bit. So on the daily chart from wave 4 here, we're looking for 5 waves up in terms of, this is intermediate degree in brackets here, and this is minor degree here. So we've got minor 1, minor 2, 5 waves up for minor 3 as we've been working through. Wave 4 we were working through, and now we're looking up for wave 5 here. So with that in mind, we can move into the next degree smaller here. So from wave 4 here, not that it really sort of helps here, I haven't got it sort of labeled here, but I'll have to go in a little bit smaller. But anyway, you get to see that where we are, and the levels here are basically 1, 2, and 3 for group 1, the midpoint 95, 98 is going to be profit taking, and of course the finishing line through here at 100. Just drilling in here though, I was looking at the wave count like this here in terms of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 for wave 1, and back for wave 2 here. So I was looking at all of this as being wave 3 up here, that obviously is not finished yet, and will be going higher. So there's still wave 3 will probably come in at the 98 here, and then move up from here, but expect profit taking here. Other little numbers that are important here are, between 95 and 98 is 96.50, even the price is above that. And so 98 is really the next number there. Okay, well that sort of puts the Australian market into sort of perspective in terms of the finance. Now, with BHP here, just to sort of move into this. This is where we're expecting it to pull back to, okay, from these highs up here, and it would have been nice to see it happen because we were counting 5 waves up off the low here, and because we got 5 here, I reckon that we should get another 5 over here. Well, according to the Elliott principle, but it would have been nice to. It's very difficult to count all of this. Yeah, I can make guesses, but it would have been nice to see, a corrective move that, in 3 waves. But we don't have that. But we can certainly move up from here. But any trading in this sort of area here will be higher risk. But as I mentioned, we've got the metal markets sort of on our side now. So if you wanted to take a risk in the metals section, well then this is this is where it starts here. I mean, we do have a position in Rio. We may pick up a few more later in the week. I just want to see how it sort of pans out. I mean, the other side of this too is that from this high to this low here, if this was going to move up, then this is where it's going to fail from. So it's good to keep that in mind here. This is the 50-60% retracement level. So it could just go to this level and fade from that point there. So we need to be mindful of that. So we'll need to have a look at how the structure develops. I can see here that we've got like a little impulse wave here. So it's a nice little pattern here. So we should get to this point here. Alrighty, the US markets, starting with the S&P 500, they're not as sort of healthy looking as it said, and we'll look at that in a moment. But what we have been looking for is a sort of, well, we expected a bounce off here. How far that go was just a guessing game. But it does appear that we've got a looking for a 5-wave structure in here that could come up into this trend line through here and then fade back into here before finding its feed up here again and so forth. So we need to be mindful of this move back down through to here to make sure it doesn't collapse in here and stays, within perspective here and continues to move up. So yeah, with that in mind, I would have looked at the volume as well, but the volume was, well, I'll do it now. We've been looking at the weekly volume here, and it's pushed up higher through here. And we got more volume last week than the previous week, which was good. We got it on the Friday, but because it was the 20th, it would have been expiries on probably futures contracts and options contract. It might have even been a triple witching on there as well. I don't know. I need to double check on that. So, but anyway, as far as reading the volume goes, it's all good to the upside. But I think a lot of that volume came in from other derivatives rolling and expiring and so forth. So, but let me check on that a bit. So coming into the wave count here for the S&P 500, this is the best fit. So from the low here, up for 1, back for 2, and then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 for wave 5 of C here. Now, I also need to point out too that this is the point that it can fail from, because if we view this in another way, it would be wave A, B, and then 5 waves for C wave here, and that's the end of it. So it could actually fail from here. But I just think that I can see the other markets moving up further, except for the Euro. Well, anyway, I'll stay with this. What we're looking at here is a pattern across the 2100 here. 100, it's a minor level. It carries weight, and I would expect to see the classic trading levels pattern. We've got the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level, and now we're looking for an ABC correction. Now the ABC correction may get a bit complicated because it's a wave 4, so it might take a little while to resolve, but what we're looking for over the next few days is a nice solid support on the 21 here. Now, the good news is if we do get 5 waves up through to here, then we'll get a corrective move, ABC, and then another 5 up, okay? So that's what we're looking for. So it's going to be a little bit messy across here. I mean, I can drill in here and, the 38.2 retracement level for the blue wave here is the same as this low here. So we've got two, actually it's a bit higher, I think. Let me just double check in here. It's got to drill in a bit. Here we go here, just on the 1 hour chart. Oh no, it is there, sorry, yeah. So this is where it can come back to, the 2080 area, 85 sort of area. this move up here. It does appear to be completed, but I've got this little move just here off the lows here, which I find a bit difficult to work out. So there can be another little high here, but I'd be very careful about chasing it. Would still end up coming back down into here before we move up. Look, it may even sit flat on the 2100, and that would be a variation of the classic trading levels pattern. That's be the first variation out of the box, but we need to see what it's like when we get there. Okay, so a little bit of working there, but do expect some profit taking coming in early in the week there. But if you're holding long, well, then you know where to keep the stop. You need to keep the stop out of the way, so to speak. And of course, this is the same for the DJ as well. So from the low here, we've got wave 1, 2, and looking up for wave 3 here, back for blue wave 4, and then up again as well. And 38.2 retracement level comes in a little bit higher here. Once again, we just need to be mindful that this also needs to be viewed as an A and a B and a C wave to here, and it can fail from here. So we need to be careful about this. So I just think that we just allow wave 4 to play out. Yes, there can be one more little high, but as far as the cash is concerned, it feels like that it's completed, and we should see some type of 3-wave correction here, coming back in, retesting the 18,000 before we see a push higher from that point there. The DAX, now still looking for the top of this third wave here, okay, of wave 5 of 3 here. Now, and that's fine too, but at the same time, we need to be mindful that, well, this is still trending strongly to the upside, and picking bottoms and tops can be dangerous, and we don't normally trade them. On the turn, we look for a bit of evidence first and then move in. So we've got to view this in such a way that, yes, our count takes us to the top here, and we can expect a wave 4 here, but at the same time, we need to be mindful, well, shit, if it's going to go up, we need to be on it as well. So we need to know at what point we can discriminate between being positive and negative. So the negative count, corrective count, is essentially coming back to these wave 4s in here at 11,500. And we do have a bit of an impulse wave coming down through here. So it is possible that we are working lower through here. We are working across the 12,000 as well here. So in terms of coming down just on the 2-hour chart, it does count that we've got a 5 little wave structure here, and we could look at this as being some type of corrective pattern, pulling back up to the 61.8% here, and then moving down from here. So, let me just go in here a little bit further. This is where we just need to be a little bit sort of careful here. I mean, I can count this move down here as 5 waves here to this point. But I can also, once I get to this point here, then it's possible that all this is just like an A wave in terms of, I think we had this last week, here is an A wave, and then a B wave to here and a C wave to here. So that's the finish of it, and we're working up from there. So in terms of working up from here, then we would need to, well, first establish support on 12,000, and then we would need to get support on 12.1. Once you got that, then you know that you're moving higher here, because that little circle there's the lower end is the 50% retracement level, and above is the 61.8%. So if we get a move, clearly above that, then we know that we're going to be moving higher from that point. But at the same time, just for the short term here, we need to look at this as down for 1, back for 2 here, or even A and B, and still coming down here for C, coming down to 11,500. But if we get support here on 12,100, then the bias is to the upside, and you need to trade long on that tested support, okay, and with your reference point, and you need to continue with the trend if that's the case, okay. So I think just allowing it a little bit of time to play out here would be important. Okay, the FTSE's been in a bit of a world of its own, and we've been a bit fortunate to be able to to understand that and to and point it to the long side, we right from this word here we had this is wave 1 and wave 2 here, and we're looking up for wave 3. So this was very different from some of the other markets as such, but very much in line with the Australian banks as well, the Australian market. So that relationship is sticking quite nicely here. So with that in mind, from that low here, we'd been looking at this as wave 1 and wave 2 here. And then I was looking at all of this being wave 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 here on Friday. So Friday's pushed up nicely. So I don't think this is finished, but we are looking for, well, let's look for a retest on 7,000, and that little high there would be a reference point, wouldn't it? So any move above that would take us into, well, I'm not sure how far it can go up, but this is like a little third wave here. So we're still looking for a fourth and a fifth. So I've got this as wave 1 and 2 to here, and then all of this is the third wave to that point there. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 to here, and then 4 and 5. So it can take us to the 7, 1 there, but that will just depend on on what other markets are doing and what's dragging it and so forth. But anyway, that's the count, and it's still up. I mean, even once wave 3 is done, then we'd be looking for wave 4 to wherever that is, and we'd look for wave 4 of 1 lesser degree to pull back to, or the 38.2 retracement level, wherever that may come into the to the plan over here. So still comes back into roughly this sort of area. So we are looking, there is a bit more upside, but at the same time we are looking for a correction across the 7,000 here before we see further upside here. That's the main point. So classic trading levels pattern, the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level, then the A, the B, and the C. Might be more complicated than that because of wave 4, and then up for wave 5 in that area there. And 7,200, the 72 number, is also a good target to look at as well. But we'll track that when we get there. Right, that's it. Alrighty, cheers, thank you.